everyone. We are here at stage number 2 with our next competitor. Let's scoot over just a little bit so we get into the camera range here. Everyone from Madcap Coffee Roasters, put your hands together for Grant Wunderlich. Grant, your judges are coming out right now. Go ahead and say hello to them, and then call time when you're ready.
Sounds good. So, how's it going? Hey. Hi. Judges, are you all set? All right, I'll begin in just a moment. Time. I see coffee as a tool for change and growth. From seed to cup, many hands are involved in this collaborative, community-driven process. Starting with the seed, farmers often invest several years before their plants produce. Careful attention to detail during harvest and processing requires much time and effort by the farmers and their local community. The coffee then travels to cafes where it is roasted with care, brewed by a team of skillful baristas, and shared and enjoyed by many. During this process, however, most of the emphasis is put on the final product, the brewed cup of coffee, rather than the hard work of the farmers. As consumers, we benefit from this process as we get quite an incredible product, often while forgetting about farmers, leaving them in a state of poverty. Now, I know no one here wants to see this happen. Now, judges, I encourage you to relax. Don't feel any pressure to write down notes. I'd just like to share a story with you that really helps me connect with the coffee I'm going to share with you today. Honduras is a coffee-producing country where I've spent several months living with different medical teams. I've spent time treating patients and living in the local community, experiencing the effects poverty has on daily life. Many children are unable to attend school as they must work alongside their families each day to help put food on the table. Even if they didn't have to work, school is far too expensive and scarcely accessible. Without an education, it makes it very difficult for people to better themselves. And this can lead to a state of hopelessness, followed by violence, crime, and addiction as people fight to survive. Any type of outside help can make a huge difference in breaking this vicious cycle of poverty. Now, what I experienced in Honduras is not unique to that country, but is experienced by many coffee farmers all around the world. Now, the coffee industry is aware of this issue of poverty and has started several initiatives, like fair trade, for example, but they have fallen short of accomplishing their end goal. By reevaluating the emphasis and pricing structure of the coffee market, we, as the coffee industry, have an incredible platform to impact the future trajectory of farmers' lives. Now, I know I've shared some heavy information with you, and I encourage you to think it over as I prepare for the brewing process. At Madcap, we first and foremost understand that there is no one simple complex. We have began by evaluating each of our farmers on an individual basis to determine what we need to pay them per pound of coffee to help boost them above the poverty line. And this amount can vary as each farmer faces different political and economic challenges in the different countries where they farm. In doing so, deep relationships have been formed. As a barista, I love being able to meet some of our farmers and ask them questions about their local microclimate, cultivation techniques, and challenges they face, as this allows me to have a deeper understanding of coffee and shows me how I can use my brewing parameters to truly showcase generations of hard work. Today, judges, I am excited to share with you a coffee from Ethiopia, both delicate and complex, which is a perfect match for my brew method, the Chemex. With its non-porous glass, the Chemex imparts no unnatural outside flavor to the coffee. But what really makes the Chemex stand out is this thick paper filter. This filter allows the small, sweet, flavorful molecules to pass through, while it retains the larger, bitter, astringent ones. This allows for a cup with elevated sweetness and much depth. In preparation for today, I started off by trying some different methods. I began with the Kalita dripper, which we use in our cafe every day, and I got some good cups of coffee, but it had a heavier body compared to the Chemex, and I just noticed it lost some of that complexity. Next, I tried the V60, which is a pretty similar method to the Chemex, and I finally got a little bit of a lighter body. But again, without that thick Chemex filter, I still didn't get that same depth and level of clarity that I could get with the Chemex. As for the coffee I'm sharing with you today, it is by producer Samuel DeGalo. This coffee is from Ethiopia. It is a wash process coffee, and it comes from the Guji region. It is grown between 1,800 and 21 meters above sea level, and it is composed of mixed heirloom varieties. Already, this incredible terroir and location set this coffee up for success. And this is noted in the cup. It has elevated sweetness and acidity. This, paired with the fact that this coffee has sought-after Ethiopian genetics, also translates to the cup, as it has a complex euphoria of candied citrus and flower. But what really makes this coffee stand out is Samuel DeGalo himself. He has a teaching degree and is a very educated man, and this shows as he's always up to date with the latest cultivation and processing techniques. It's paired with the fact that this is a special single lot separation of Samuel DeGalo's really translates to the cup as well, as it has tremendous depth and a high level of clarity. Now, judges, I'd like to share with you a little bit about my brewing specs for today. I'm excited to share with you my Chemex method, which is very calculated and precise, eliminating any excess steps to prevent overcomplication. Today, I'm using 22 grams of coffee and 355 grams of water. This is a 16.1 to 1 ratio of water to beans. I found that with this dose, it was the perfect combination of both depth of flavor and mouthfeel. As for the temperature of my water today, judges, I'm using water at 206 degrees. I found that this temperature slightly off boil perfectly extracted the coffee, extracting as much of the flavorful molecules as possible without starting to tap into the bitter astringent ones. As for my specific method itself, I'm starting with a 50-gram bloom of water for 20 seconds. Found that 50 grams is an adequate enough water to fully saturate the beans, as the beans typically absorb twice their weight in water during the brewing process. And I found that 20 seconds was enough time to let the beans fully degas without noticing a big drop in the overall brew temperature. As for the rest of my technique, I'm doing a slow continuous pour in concentric circles to my end weight of 355 grams. Compared to pulse pouring, I found that my continuous pour results in a little bit lower overall brew temperature, but this is intentional as it prevents any over-extraction and bitterness in the cup. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about what you'll be tasting today. Now don't feel rushed to write all this information down, as I have provided it on the menus in front of you. As for the aroma of this coffee, you will notice notes of brown sugar, jasmine, and candied citrus. As for the acidity of this coffee, it is medium plus and layered. As the coffee is warm, it has a citric lime and will transition as the coffee cools to a softer watermelon acidity. As for the body of this coffee, it is medium and full as the coffee is warm, and as the coffee cools, it will become more sparkling and effervescent. As for specific tasting notes, as this coffee is hot, you can look for notes of baked peach, lime, and orange blossom. As the coffee cools, these notes will transition to white peach, watermelon, and hibiscus. As for the aftertaste of this coffee, it is lingering and coating and is reminiscent of lime zest and black tea. The balance of this coffee, with its medium body, elevated acidity, and lingering finish, all combine for a very cohesive cup. All right. Now, Samuel DeGalo, he is so much more than just coffee. With his education degree, He spends much of his time in his local community helping other farmers strive and achieve excellent coffee as well. This year, Samuel DeGalo entered the Ethiopian Cup, and his coffee place is the highest scoring washed coffee. It went to auction and sold for over $14 a pound. Now, I share this with you as many people in Ethiopia believe there's not much money left. This creates hope for a new generation of coffee farmers and producers. Samuel DeGalo is the perfect example of what happens when we pay our farmers a premium for their coffee. Not only do we get an incredible product in return, but we're able to empower people like Samuel DeGalo to make a long-lasting impact in their local communities. Judges, I ask you to evaluate this coffee directly from the cup. Thank you for your time. That's my time.
All right, everyone, put your hands together for Grant Wunderlich from Madcap. Grant, come on over here. Stand right on that little X right there for me. There we go. Awesome. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Got it all done. It's out of the way.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're with Madcap Coffee Roasters, right? What do you do for Madcap?
I'm just a barista there working their cafes.
You're not just a barista. You are a barista. Everyone, you are a barista. Man. Hopefully your boss isn't here or anything like that.
Yeah. It'd be really embarrassing.
Well, so you are, that would be really embarrassing. You are a barista with Madcap Coffee. And which location do you work at?
I work at the Fulton Street location.
Nice. That's a beautiful space.
I love it.
And how long have you been with Madcap?
Just half.
Wow, awesome. And Trevor let you compete. That's cool.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool. Awesome. Well, so I know the selection process for Brewers Cup is really important. Picking the right coffee. Not only does it need to taste good, but there's also like a background to the coffee that needs to be there as well. Tell us how you kind of ended up at this coffee.
Yeah, well, I think beyond just an incredible tasting cup, what I really resonated with was just kind of Samuel DeGalo and what he does beyond coffee in his community. I shared a little bit about my personal experiences in Honduras, but it was really cool to not only get a great coffee, but to support someone that's helping improve and change their community for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard you mention you lived in Honduras for a little while as well?
Yeah, a couple months of some different medical teams, some medical missions work down there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have exposure to coffee when you were there doing that? Or was that kind of like a coincidental thing that you've done in your life that you realized like, oh?
I actually did have a little exposure near Santa Barbara on my latest trip, which is where a lot of our Madcap Honduran coffee comes from. So I almost was able to meet up with Benjamin Paza, exporter down there. But so yeah, it was cool to kind of be in the similar area where our coffee comes from and kind of get a feel for what is kind of going on down there.
That's cool. So this is your first time competing then, right?
It is, yeah.
So for people out there that may be thinking about competing in Brewers Cup, what advice do you have as being someone that's now made it to the end of your first time competing, right? Hopefully you can make it further, but you made it to your open presentation. Like what advice do you have?
I don't know. I asked many questions. I had great supporting people around me. It was great to, kind of be mentored by some different people, but also, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but it's fun just to try something new. Just jump out there, but I've been enjoying this whole process. I think that's the biggest thing. Just having fun along the way.
It's a learning process along the way, and you are definitely becoming an even better barista, being up here and putting yourself on the line for that. So that's really great. Like I said before, it takes a village to make this happen. I want to give you a chance to say thank you to some people.
I have some people sitting right up front here: Trevor Corlett, Jonathan Miller, Ben Martin, and Leah Ritzma have been very supportive.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here for these guys. They've helped me a ton.
That's awesome. Well, you guys from Madcap Coffee, again, put your hands together for Grant Wunderlich. Good job, Grant. Excellent. Good luck. And we'll be back at stage number 1 with our next competitor here in just a few minutes.